So I want to talk about narrative today because in the light of these balloons that were shot down, and there's so many narratives about it, and um, just in general, and we've been talking about this in other conversations about this divisiveness that's going on and the us versus them, and this is all narrative, and all of life is narrative. It's that inner critic, whatever you're telling yourself about what you're able to do, what you're capable of doing, that's your narrative. And then you insert that narrative into the greater narrative around you. So it's the narrative of your family. And so in other conversations, we've talked about the DNA, the emotional DNA of the family, the actual DNA of the family. But so your narrative, which you got from your family and your friends and your school teachers and your school colleagues, that creates that narrative that you live in. That's your narrative, that's your paradigm, that's your reality, that's your truth. That's how you base your behaviors. We've talked about in other videos or other conversations, selective perception, where we cannot take in all of the information that's coming at us. And so we selectively perceive the data that we want. And it usually is the data that feeds our belief systems. And I'll give just a real quick example of selective perception. Let's say you choose a car. And I remember this, I bought a Mazda Miata years ago. And I chose that car because I didn't see any Mazda Miatas on the road. It was that little two-seater convertible, and it was so cute. And the minute I drove that car off the lot, I saw 10 Miatas, Mazda Miatas on the road, like within the first 30 minutes. And it's like they were breeding like rabbits. And why is that? Because of selective perception. So this is why when you change your narrative, all you have to do is change that one core thing of the narrative and then look for the things that will feed it, and you will find it. Okay, so you've got your own narrative that fits into the narrative of your family and what you learned. It fits into your work narrative. It fits into your social narrative. It fits into the political narrative. It fits into all of the other narratives, and all of these narratives come together. Now, I want to bring this now back to current events of what's going on. When we look at something in the news like these balloons that were shot down, it's hard to understand what is really going on because there's so many narratives that are going on. So whenever you hear a version of events, it's really important that you look to see what's the agenda, what lens are they looking through, what narrative are they selling, what narrative are they pushing. Because there's some that are saying, oh, it's nothing, nothing, nothing. There are others that were saying, okay, it's Chinese spy balloons. Others are saying, well, they've been here before. And then others are saying, well, there's other things that are going on. Others are saying the other things that are going on are our own Black projects. And they're wanting to create a new kind of narrative with this whole UAP phenomenon. I've had people reach out to me going, well, are these UFOs? And I'm like, they're balloons. These are really, really balloons. It was shot down. They've seen it. They look at it. And so there's all these different narratives that are going on. Underneath this whole thing, and this is something that I feel very clear on. As long as we all worldwide agree to pretend the narrative that we are alone in the universe, as long as from a societal point of view, we agree to that illusion, that narrative, we build our lives on quicksand because it's a lie. And when things start to topple, when the cracks in the facade start to happen, then it's conditioned human behavior to latch onto a safety net or that lifesaver. And this is why we're latching on so much to this tribe or that school of thought. And you could see it if you to look back pre-pandemic, even pre-pandemic, but let's just take it pre-pandemic because that's fairly recent history. Within the whole marketing thing, it was all about find your tribe, find your tribe, find your tribe. So this would have been about 2009 is when I came online. And man, every little alarm bell in my head started going off, going, this, you extrapolate out where you are now. And if you extrapolate out, you can kind of see the trajectory. And I'm like, find your tribe. This is going to create tribalism. And when you have tribalism, then you have divisiveness. And when you have divisiveness, then you create more divides and you stop listening to each other. When you stop listening to each other, then your narrative doesn't even allow time for you to listen to yourself. Because you're so busy blocking other people out, you get the narrative, the habit pattern of blocking yourself out, blocking your own voice out. No bueno. And so, and then the tribalism, you could see where it went out into it went back into the racism. It went back, I mean, not back into, well, yeah, I can say back into it, circled back and came out bigger, of racism. And then the religiosity of things and the politicization of things. And all of this is this way because there's cracks in the facade of this umbrella propaganda that we've all agreed to pretend that it's true, even if we know it's not true. We know in our gut that it's not true. We know in our gut that we're not alone. Most people will whisper it out of the side of their mouth. Yeah, I just think it's kind of crazy to think that we are alone. I mean, that's a pretty small God, is what I've heard. But yet we go about our daily business pretending, acting as if, and allowing the society, the narrative that we're in, to continue that disinformation. This is why it is never, ever, ever been more vital that each one of us, each in our own way, stop. Just stop what we're doing and take a look at what's going on in our life. Take a look at what's going on in ourselves. It's scary if you're not used to looking within. It's scary if you're not used to meditating. It's scary if you're used to meditating, but you're asking yourself to go to a deeper level. It's scary to take that step in the unknown because at least, there's the illusion that I can handle this, but the world is shifting so fast. And we cannot wait for our leaders to step up to the plate because they're just too flippin' comfortable. And they're working hard to hang on to their power. So this has got to come from us, we the people. It's got to rise up from us. And to let it rise up from us, it's about learning to let it rise up within yourself. You are made of this cosmic, infinite, unconditional love. The entire universe is flowing through you. That's my terminology. Other people would say divine light is flowing through you. Prana is flowing through you. Holy Spirit is flowing through you. Whatever you want to call it, whatever force, name you want to put to that force that is so much bigger than your own ego intellect that wants to grab onto something safe and hang on for all it's worth, even when it's cracking around you and you're drowning and the world is falling apart around you. You gotta let go and be who you really are. And who you really are is an amazing, powerful being of infinite unconditional love. trying to act like the bonsai tree version of who you are is who you are. So please stop and take a look at it and just start small. Just choose one thing in your life that no longer resonates in your gut, in your heart, in your mind, in your head, in your mouth, wherever you can recognize it. You know it's too small and you know it's a lie. And you're tired of telling yourself the lie. And if you're unsure where to start, just listen to the inner critic. That voice belongs to somebody in your past that's trying to tell you that you're either too much or not enough. And you take that one thought and say, you know what? Not going to play in that sandbox anymore. Basta. I'm done. No more. Finito. And you put it on a little plate in your mind's eye and you let love flow up through it and say, thank you for serving me, but you no longer belong to me. I let you be transformed into illumination. I let you be transformed into emotional freedom. I let you be transformed. You know what you want to transform it into. Because there's something inside of you that wants to express itself more fully and freely than ever before. And now's the time. Now's the time. Because if we keep fighting with each other for our little tribes and we can't find commonalities, we can't find little things that we have in common. If nothing else, we're on this same planet together. We're going to blow the flipping planet up. It's ridiculous. This is not what we're made to do. So I'm asking you, and really from the bottom of my heart, to take a call to action. Just do a stop, take a look at it, take a look at what your narrative is, and then pull the threads of the narrative that doesn't serve you anymore. Transform it. You learn to listen within. I call it your divine soul knowing. But you listen to that part of you that is consciously aware of your connection to everything that ever was, everything that is, and everything that will be. And you start listening to that. You can ask yes or no questions. The yes has got a sense of expansion to it. The no has nothing to it. You know that you've let go of what you think you know because you can feel yourself relax into yourself a little bit more. It's just like a little emotional stretch. And then when you ask yourself, you'll feel the expansion on the yes. So when you're listening to all of these different narratives about any current events, but I started in talking about these balloons and how it's connected to the unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is what they were until they were brought down, and the whole extraterrestrial or interdimensional, other sentient races, and all of those narratives that are going on and are starting to come out on the forefront. And believe me, this conversation is starting to come out more and more. And there's the narrative of what those that want to keep things secret because they've got the control. There's the other narrative that there's good ones and bad ones. There's the other narrative that there's only good ones. There's the other narrative, you know. So you have to listen within and recognize that nobody's got the whole story. But what you can do is pick up the different pieces and just keep asking within, is this one right? Is this one right? Is this one right? This one. And you start to put it together and you allow it to be elastic. So that step by step, you start to help build a structure of truth for our future. Now, I'm not going to be on the planet that much longer, but this is the gift that you can do for those who come behind you. It's the gift that you can do for the rest of your life. It's the gift that you can do for those that come behind you and behind them and behind them, so that we can start to build bridges and create a better future and step out of the Truman Show, of the big fat lie that we're alone in the universe. If we accept that, then we don't have to go into knee-jerk reactions whenever something comes out. And nobody can come in and try to fool us with some fake alien invasion or something like that, because there is that school of thought that is going on. So just to bring it in for you, take the steps small, take a look at where you are right now, take a look at what lie or what lie have you been telling yourself? And if that's too strong of a word, what small thinking have you been trying to live under that you're ready to let go of? Let it be transformed and take steps into creating a new narrative for you and the world you live in. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being interested in learning on how to live your light more fully and freely with emotional freedoms that you haven't even yet begun to dream of, and that gives you the courage and clarity to live your divine soul purpose. Now, just so that I play well with the algorithms here on YouTube, be sure to like the video. Please leave me a comment, because I do love more two-way conversations, and subscribe if you want to stay in touch with any of the new material that I'm putting out there.